So today I will talk about calculus of variation, and using the idea of calculus of variation, I will derive Euler's equation. And Euler's equation is equivalent to Lagrange's equation of motion. Means its mathematical structure is identical, right? So in general, the problem of calculus of variation is to determine function fx such that integral j, and j is a functional of y, right, such that f of y of x, y prime x means derivative and x, it should be extremum. And what is the meaning of extremum? Extremum means either maximum or minimum. Extremum means either maximum or minimum, right? So let us try to understand it geometrically and mathematically, and how Euler's equation can be derived from it. So let us have a look at that. So let j be a function, j be a function of y and is defined by, or defined as, jy is equal to x1 to x2 f of y of x comma dyx over dtx and x into dx, right? This is it. So let us write down it in the short notation. So j is simply x1 to x2 f of y, yx means derivative of y with respect to x and x, right, into dx. So let me call this as equation number 1. So integral means what? It's a path, length of the path. Which path a particle must follow, that we have to decide under the action of certain force, right? Because when certain particle has some energy, that means it has to follow certain path. Which path it must follow? So that's the idea behind it, right? So let us draw a diagram, and that diagram will clear something to us. Let's say it is x-axis and say it is y-axis. Say particle will be here at position x1, y1, and say after some time it will be x2 and y2. There are different possible paths. One possible path is this one. It may go like this, or it may follow any other path. Let me call it as path 2, and let me call this as path 1. And there is a change in the value of y when we talk about this path. If I compare these two, and this delta y is the change. So that means there are various paths to reach from y1 to y2. So which path the particle should adopt? Let us try to understand it. So there are different paths to reach from y1 to y2, and we have shown here two paths in this diagram, and mathematically let us describe this situation, right? So say, let us assume that this is the actual path. This is the actual path, and this is different path. At this second path is little bit different than first path. So let me do one thing. Means rather than considering this, what I will consider that y x alpha representing every path. Y x alpha is representing every path, and this is also depending upon alpha. And for this path, for the extremum path, let me re-express it in this form: x y x0. Rather than yx, I am writing it as yx0. Means for this path, alpha will be 0. This should be the actual path out of the so many paths. So I am writing it as yx0 plus another function of x multiplied by alpha. Right. So such that this eta x is chosen such that its value at the extreme ends, because I am taking integral from one point to the another point. I am taking integral from x1 to x2. So that means I have chosen this eta x in such a manner such that eta x1 is equal to eta x2 and it is equal to 0. Let me call this as equation number 3 and let me call this as equation number 2. Or you can take either. You can take this as equation 2 or it as 3, doesn't matter. Okay? Because I have taken equations in this manner, so that's why I am writing. So I thought I have to express this first of all and then need to express this later on. Right? And on my notes I used this first and then talked about it later on. So but let us do one more thing. That's again a little bit mathematical trick. When I am moving from extremum path to different path, and which one is the extremum path? Extremum path is this one. And when I am switching over from one part to the another part, that means there is a change in y. There is a slight change in y, and let us represent that change by delta y. Right? So this is another way to look at it. And both the equations representing the same thing. These both equations representing the same thing. So therefore I can write down delta y is equal to alpha eta x. And let me call this as, because if I compare equation number 3 and 4, then I am writing it as delta y is equal to alpha eta x. Simple. It's a very simple idea. So first of all, I have chosen a path which is extremum. I assumed that let the path which is depending only upon x and it is independent of x, means for which alpha will be 0. Independent of alpha, that means alpha will be 0 for that. And what I did, I added to it another function which is also depending upon x but multiplied by alpha. And alpha is different for different paths. And similarly, I again chosen such that yx alpha is equal to yx0 plus delta y. Right? So this is a mathematical representation. This is mathematical representation and this is the geometrical representation for different paths. One is a mathematical and another is geometrical, and if I compare both, then what I am getting, delta y is equal to alpha eta x. Now Let us try to understand the now what's going on. This y, which is a function of x and alpha, and our j is a function of y. So I can replace this functional of y as a j is a function of alpha, because for different paths it is depending upon alpha. For different paths it is depending upon alpha. So that means rather than expressing it in the form of a functional, I will express in the form of a function and is a function of alpha, right? So what I am doing now, that j alpha is equal to, it is from x1 to x2 integral, it is f by x alpha comma yx alpha x as a dx, and let me call this as equation number 6. So what we have chosen yx0 is a path for which ये कौन सा path है? It is the extremum path, and for this extremum path alpha must be equal to 0. And for this function to be extremum, because this j alpha representing the length of the path, and it should be extremum means minimum, path should be minimum. Out of the so many paths, possible paths, which path you will follow? Either you will follow a path which has least action or least time, right? That means we are trying to minimize the thing, and when we minimize the thing, that means we have to use the idea of differentiation. So that means for the extremum path, or to minimize the function, what will you do? You will take derivative of j alpha with respect to alpha, and it must be equal to 0, and for your desired path alpha must be equal to 0. For your desired path alpha must be equal to 0, and let me call this as equation 6.1. You can number equations according to your interest, right? So that means what is needed now, we need to calculate this one. That's what we have to derive, right? So let us try to find out it now. Right, so this is it. And when I open this partial derivative, because it's depending upon so many functions, that means and only these two quantities which are depending upon alpha, and this is independent of alpha, right? So it is x1 to x2 curly f over curly y, its partial derivative with respect to y, and y is again depending upon alpha. That's why I can write down curly y over curly alpha plus curly f over curly yx and curly yx over curly alpha, right? This is its partial derivative of this function, and I am not taking it with respect to x because it is 0, because it is independent of alpha. So it is dx and it must be equal to 0. It must be equal to 0. Now what I need to evaluate these two quantities, curly y over curly alpha and curly yx over curly alpha. That's what I need now. So for that, what I will do, and let me call this as equation number 7. So let us reconsider. Yx alpha is equal to yx0 plus alpha eta x. Let us take its derivative, partial derivative with respect to alpha. And its derivative, because it is independent of alpha, it will be 0 and plus 1 into eta x, so it is simply eta x, right? And then I need to calculate its partial derivative of y x with respect to alpha. And what is yx? D y over or curly y over curly x. इसकी वैल्यू सब्स्टिट्यूट की, right? I substituted its value. So, and if I take its derivative with respect to, let me re-express it. Curly over curly x can be written here and curly over curly alpha into y, it can be written in this way. I just interchanged this here and this here and I did nothing. It's a little mathematical trick. So its derivative is what? Its derivative is, sorry, it's depending upon single variable, so that's why I'm writing it as d over dx, right? So it is d over dx will be here. So it is d over dx into eta x, because its value will be eta from here. So I have to use two values in this equation. So this equation 7 will become what? This 7 number equation, it is curly j alpha over curly alpha. It must be equal to integral from x1 to x2 curly f over curly y eta x plus curly f upon curly y x into d upon dx into eta x. That's what I am taking here, and tx, and it must be equal to 0. Now let me try to find out this particular integral and then equating it equal to 0. So I will consider only this part now, right? So for that, let us proceed as follows. It is curly j alpha over curly alpha. It must be equal to integral from x1 to x2 curly f over curly y eta x. I just opened the integral plus curly f over curly y x into d upon dx into eta x into dx. It is integral from x1 to x2. Let us apply integration by parts on this part, and this part will remain as it is. So how do we apply integration by parts here? Curly f over curly y eta x, its integral from x1 to x2 in dx plus first function as it is and integral of second function, and this whole is the integral from x1 to x2, and this differential and this integral will cancel out, because integration and differentiation both are reciprocal, so it will cancel out. Then minus what it will mean now? It is ddx of first function and integral of second function, right? And whole integral. This is whole integral. Now try to look at it. ये dx भी cancel हो जाता है when we take integral. यहाँ पे मेरे पास क्या बचा? I will remain only with the eta x and its limit from x1 to x2. और मेरे पास क्या था? eta x1 और eta x2 की वैल्यूज क्या थी? 0. Extreme ends पे its value will be 0. So that means this part of the integral will become 0. This will become 0, and this whole is the integral from x1 to x2, because it is the whole integral. So that's why I am taking limits here, not inside it. And this will cancel out. So what it will be? It is equal to curly f over curly y eta x dx. It is x1 to x2 minus x1 to x2 eta x, ये eta x आएगा पहले, and then d upon dx of curly f over curly y x into dx. That's what I'm getting now. Right, so that means curly j alpha over curly alpha, ये इसी की वैल्यू थी, राइट? इसको मैं थोड़ा सा दोबारा रीअरेंज करके लिख रहा हूं, बिकॉज इट एक्स विल बी हियर एंड हियर इट कैन बी टेकन आउटसाइड and we can take whole integral. So I can write down it as curly f over curly y, curly f over curly y minus d upon dx and curly f over curly y x into eta x and dx. It must be equal to 0 and it's integral from x1 to x2. And from here what I am concluding, that delta j alpha means now limit is not approaching 0. That's the meaning. That's why I am writing it as in the form of a delta. So delta j alpha, or simply delta j, is equal to integral from x1 to x2 curly f over curly y minus d upon dx curly f over curly y x into delta alpha eta x, and delta alpha into eta x we call it as delta y, or simply y x as we have chosen. So it means it is simply delta y and dx will remain as it is. So I can write down it as it is x1 to x2 curly f over curly y minus d upon dx and curly f over curly y x delta y dx. It must be equal to 0. And as we know that delta y x1 must be equal to delta y x2 and it must be equal to 0. This we got from the initial conditions, because at initial point there is no change in value of y. At initial points, sorry, not initial but end points of the path. So keeping this in mind, and this integral must be equal to 0 if and only if this integrand curly f over curly y minus d upon dx curly f over curly y x, it is equal to 0. And what is it? This is known as Euler's equation. And our Lagrange's equation of motion is also looks identical, right? So it's a general idea of calculus of variation, and we will use this idea of calculus of variation to find out the least action, right? And when we are using calculus of variation to find out the least action, that is known as Hamilton's principle. So in the next lecture I will talk about that. So that's all for this lecture.